आत्महत्या की। मेरी बेटी की दिमागी हालत ठीक नहीं थी।
These are the boys that were brought to trial. The judge sentenced them to 3 years in prison and suspend the sentence. Suspend the sentence.
अगली बार जब ये साहब उनका नाम सुने तो इनके चेहरे पे मुस्कान होनी चाहिए। मैं नहीं जानना चाहता वो कौन है।
Give this to Clemenza. I want reliable people that aren't going to be carried away. I mean, we're not murderers, in spite of what this...
Does that sound familiar? The title of the video probably gave it away. But yes, this is a word-for-word translation of one of the most iconic monologues of cinematic history. You know Godfather, that underrated cult classic film that went by unnoticed about a family of Italian mobsters fighting for power in America. इस मूवी का सिनेमा की हिस्ट्री में कुछ खास इम्पैक्ट नहीं था, स्पेशली इंडियन सिनेमा में तो शायद लोग इसका नाम भी नहीं जानते होंगे। ठीक है, मजाक बहुत हुआ। क्या सरकार एक कॉपी है? और अगर ये एक कॉपी है तो इतनी गंदी कॉपी क्यों है?
आपसे अकेले में बात करना था मेरे को।
एक गांड पे रैप्टा मारा ना, सड़क पे हकता फिरेगा।
सबसे बड़ी सिमिलैरिटी अदर देन जस्ट द मोनोलॉग्स जो मैंने नोटिस की वाज द राशिद पुशिंग ड्रग्स इन द फर्स्ट फिल्म, जस्ट लाइक सोलोत्जो। दोनों ही फिल्म में हेड ऑफ द फैमिली इज अगेंस्ट इट और उनके अगेंस्ट एक असैसिनेशन अटेम्प्ट भी होता है। This video is sponsored by me, so hit the subscribe button, bitch. जिसके बाद फैमिली का छोटा और डिस्टेंट बेटा फाइनली फैमिली बिजनेस में एक्टिव इंटरेस्ट लेने लग जाता है और नया हेड बन जाता है। अब एक बहुत ही मेजर डिफरेंस ऑलरेडी आ चुका है। गॉडफादर में सोनी द एल्डेस्ट सन इज एक्चुअली एन अग्रेसिव बट सीमिंगली वेल इंटेंशनड कैरेक्टर, वेयर एज सरकार में फ्रेडो और सोनी के कैरेक्टर्स को मिक्स कर दिया गया है इनटू विष्णु, who is an eldest son who is aggressive but who is also a traitor. अब ये कैरेक्टर का क्रिएशन मेरे हिसाब से it's not that great of a choice because Sony kind of represented an aggressive hothead so that we can, but we also have somebody to contrast that in Michael, whereas Vishnu is just evil because he is already a traitor and his aggressiveness also just adds to it. It's an okay-ish thing. I don't think it's that bad, but I personally liked Sonny ka character a lot and the way he was kind of nice to Michael or the way he was loyal to the family. अब opening scene में वापस आओ तो you can clearly see that it's almost a shot-for-shot remake except it's worse in almost every aspect except for setting the tone or literal exchange, that जो information का exchange है वो समझ आता है. I also think that these films clearly differ in their tone and Sarkar ka opening scene perfectly sets the tone for what it is, which I have to give them props for, because this film is not about some rich far off family, it's about leader of the people, which Godfather is not about at all. कुछ differences भी हैं जो मेरे हिसाब से फिल्म को बुरा बनाते हैं. Firstly, there are no mafia families in Sarkar. It's more or less just the Nagre family versus politicians and one new mafia. It does not have the similar feeling of legacy, culture या कुछ traditional. The world also doesn't feel something disconnected from our own. If you haven't watched my Satya video, which you should by the way if you haven't, this seems to be a staple in RGV's films. Subhash Nagre is not shown in expensive Indian clothes, having some over-the-top expensive car or house. Yes, he's clearly very rich, but not like a person you haven't come across in real life. Godfather, on the other hand, grabs your hand and shows you a world you have never seen. A family so rich that they go around killing off rich Hollywood directors, million-dollar horses, and wearing expensive-looking suits with a glass of wine in hand all the time. I also feel the cinematography in the film feels unmotivated. The camera is placed in odd places.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
It insists upon itself.
What does that...
Sure, it makes you think why this choice was made. Sadly, nothing presented on the screen seems to answer that question. Rashid also doesn't seem like a big threat. He's just some guy. Actually, he looks closer to Anthony Gonzalez's character from Golmaal. I don't know why, but he just gives off this the guy who takes himself super seriously and nobody sees as a huge threat. Let's come to Sarkar Raj, which diverges a lot from Godfather, and I feel it was even weaker than the first film. The main conflict of the power plant seems a little forced, if not unrealistic, and kind of lame. Maybe it's just too idealistic. I mean, why would a billion-dollar company come to this unofficial head of the people? How would they even know? And to send the owner's daughter, it makes no sense to me. I think they were just trying to ship Aishwarya and Abhishek and just ride the coattails of their wedding and that whole PR thing. It does make a bold choice of killing the hero, which is brave, but also takes away from the series as a whole. We were building this guy up to be the next Sarkar. Oh wait, he's fucking dead. Again, weird scenes where... Okay, so if you don't know a big part of The Godfather, well, one of the main arcs of The Godfather is Michael's relationship with his girlfriend, and how he kind of at first is very close to her and tells her how he's not the part of his family, he's just different from his family. Whereas in Sarkar, he never really rejects his family or hates on his family. He just says, हम लोगों का भला करते हैं. अरे हम तो भाई लोगों का भला करते हैं भाई. Like, bro, what the fuck does that even mean? That's not how Godfather works. That's not what Godfather is. At least that's what I think. Obviously, RGB is like 1,000 times better at understanding films than I am, but still, bro, like, come on. The lenses, and the film was like 100 times more expensive than Sarkar. But I don't see why Sarkar couldn't look good. By the time RGB was making Sarkar, they clearly had a big budget. They had one of, if not the biggest celebrity in India at that time, and a star-studded cast all around. And the film looks like it was shot on a fucking webcam. The lighting is so dull and dark, and it does not create any mood or crazy shadows on the face like in The Godfather. The dialogues and execution on a technical level seems incredibly dated and worse than The Godfather, which is much older and just gets better every time you see it. Maybe it will be epic in the third movie, but I don't have the courage to watch that right now, and you will have to wait. Meanwhile, subscribe and comment down below what I should cover next.